Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being, and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant. And we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here. As we gather, we acknowledge that Arlington Street Church occupies the ancestral homeland of the Massachusetts. By making this land acknowledgement, we recognize, honor, and affirm the sovereignty of all First Nations peoples.
Shalom.
Hannah Young, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Dear ones, welcome to our Zoomers. Welcome to the congregation here in person, and happy first Sunday in autumn. I want to say a very special welcome to our guests from Indiana. Right down here in front, Professor Alan Helms has brought his brother and sister-in-law, Ken and Kathy, and his sister Debbie to the service this morning. Friends, we are thrilled you're here. Mwah. It's so great to have you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you to our volunteers here in the sanctuary today. Tech team, home from Europe. Welcome home, friends, we missed you. Our greeters, our ushers, the worship team, thank you, Pat, to all our musicians, and to the Arlington Street Church Choir, many thanks. The sanctuary, friends, is mask optional. Please find your comfort level. Masks are available from the ushers. For those of you who are new to Arlington Street, a very special welcome. If you're in the sanctuary here, there are welcome cards in the pew racks. Please hand yours to an usher or drop it in the basket at the great doors as you leave. For those of you in the Zoom room, you could fill out a connection card. The link is in the chat, and includes the option to request the link to a recording of today's sermon. Since I can't greet all of you in person, I hope to follow up with a virtual hello. So please fill out those connection cards, fill out your welcome cards. We'd really love to welcome you properly. Whether you've been coming here for years, or today is your very first time at Arlington Street, welcome home.
Good morning. I'm Patrick Cooleybeck, a member of the worship team here at Arlington Street Church. Welcome, one and all. Today's order of service is available on our homepage at aseboston.org and will appear in the Zoom chat. If you're in the sanctuary in person, there's a template order of service in your pew and a QR code you could scan for more details. Also on the homepage, you'll find a link to Sermon Bingo. Feel free to play along while Reverend Kim preaches. As we begin our greetings, I invite the Zoomers and those in the sanctuary with a device handy to please say hello in the chat and tell us where you're zooming in from today. And now, Rich is going to turn the camera on the sanctuary as we wave and smile at each other, as well as at our friends in the Zoom room, and you all in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. Good morning, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Our first hymn this morning will be hymn 1008, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place. Please rise in body, rise in spirit, rise if you're here, rise if you're at home, and join in singing with the choir at 10:08, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place.
When
is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted on our website by the Friday evening deadline. If you didn't submit your candle and have a joy or a sorrow to share this morning, please wait until the third candle is lit, the silent candle, and then type your joy or sorrow into the chat. Zoomers are invited to light silent candles at home. Those in the sanctuary are invited to light a silent candle at the table up front to the right of the Gleason podium. In addition to sharing our joys and sorrows this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious our beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
We open our hearts to you.
We have one candle, the mixed candle from Joel Waters and the ASC community, as we celebrate this month the 250th anniversary of the publication of Phyllis Wheatley's first book. Ms. Wheatley, only 18 years old when she authored the book, was both the first published writer of African descent in this country and the third woman in North America to do so. Brought to Boston on the slave ship Phyllis at the age of 7 and bought by the wealthy Wheatley family, she was taught to read and write by her owners, and by the age of 11 she was also fluent in Latin and Greek. Her first poems were published during her early teenage years when she was still enslaved. At the age of 18, she was freed and baptized at the Old South Church. Once feted by the likes of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington, she struggled to earn a living after she was finally freed. Married, she died at the age of 31 and was buried with her newborn child. Phyllis Wheatley Peters, presente.
Presente. Some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
We have a mixed candle from Carl Seglin. I've been happy and busy going back to school in a biotechnology program at Mass Bay Community College and also learning Japanese. Within a day of my classes starting, though, my mother fell and is now in a rehab facility. Fortunately, she didn't need surgery, has been getting better, and hopefully will be home and back to her routine in a couple more weeks. Our final candle of joy is from the ASC community, wishing a happy belated birthday to Reverend George Whitehouse. I'm not exactly sure how old George is. I do know he's not as old as Methuselah, so let's put his age at somewhere between 39 and 969. Happy birthday, George.
Sanctuary
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, and for the world. Amen.
Let's join now in saying together the affirmation and covenant of our beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación, y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Our next hymn is number 94, What is This Life? It was penned by William Henry Davis, who was born in Wales in 1871. As a young man, he chose the life of a hobo and peddler, often shipping on cattle boats to America. Later in life, he became a poet and author, best known for his autobiography of a super tramp, published in 1907. As we were planning today's service and Mark David suggested this hymn, I wrote to him, the sentiment of number 94 is perfect, but hymn lyrics that include cows, sheep, and squirrels are what make Unitarian Universalists the butt of so many jokes. Maybe it's good to just laugh along, or maybe we should choose something else. I love Mark David's response so much I have to share it with you. He wrote, I personally love the Davis poem. In a world with plenty of real problems, some people thinking Unitarian Universalists like animals too much carries absolutely zero weight with me. In that spirit, let us rise in body, rise in spirit, and join in singing together hymn number 94. All the words, including cows, sheep, and squirrels, are printed in the order of service and in the chat. Thank you, Mark David. American writer E.B. White famously wrote, "If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If the world were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between a desire to improve or save the world and a desire to enjoy or savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day." Save or savor. Of course, we want to do both. The spiritual practice of savoring cultivates the inner resources for saving. Arriving in Kenya in June, one of the first Swahili words I recognized was pole. It comes in pairs, pole, pole. I heard it so much I knew it was important. It means slowly. Pole, pole is slowly, slowly. How embarrassing to be so utterly typecast. The North American has to be told repeatedly to slow down. But there was so much to see, so much to learn. Our safari guide said, pole, pole. What's the rush? Take your time. Savor and save. 2 words I aspire to strike from my vocabulary. Busy, hurry. I long ago lost my penchant for busyness. Just the thought of busyness makes me feel like I need a nap. And hurrying? It's gotten to the point that hurrying feels like a sacrilege. Also from Kenya, this beautiful Swahili proverb, haraka haraka haina baraka, literally, hurry, hurry has no blessing. There is no blessing in the mad rush. The act of scrolling should be reserved for social media. When we scroll through our lives, half listening, only more or less present, nothing is getting all of us. We're divided up into little pieces. Our friend Beth Goldstein prepares a beautiful table, then unapologetically requests that her dinner guests put away our phones, enjoy delicious food, and talk to one another without the rest of the world pressing into the room. To savor is to make time for undivided attention. It is so restful, so restorative. Speaking to another person as if they are the only one is a precious gift we can give one another. Haraka, haraka, haina baraka. Hurry, hurry has no blessing. As a child, American author Glennon Doyle's son, Chase, was wildly creative. His parents would find him at the kitchen table drawing maps of the world and making lists of every country on earth and its capital. He wrote song lyrics and littered the house with little poems. And then he turned 13. He wanted nothing more than a cell phone. And his parents bought him a cell phone and watched their son disappear. Chase stopped drawing and writing when he was with his family. Even when he wasn't on his phone, he was gone, just hovering. Somehow, writes his mother, he had found a place easier to exist than inside his own skin. That was tragic, she continues, because inside the itchiness of our own skin is where we discover who we are. When we're bored, we ask ourselves, what do I want to do with myself? We are guided perhaps toward a pen and paper, a guitar, the forest, a soccer ball, a spatula. The moment after we don't know what to do with ourselves is the moment we find ourselves. Right after itchy boredom is self-discovery. But we have to hang in there long enough without bailing. When we hand our children phones, we steal their boredom from them. I was once talking to a Silicon Valley executive who had played an integral role in the creation and proliferation of cell phones. I asked her how old her kids had been when she'd bought them phones. She laughed and said, "Oh, my kids don't have phones." Ah, I thought. Don't get your kids high on your own supply. It took Glennon Doyle about a year of witnessing Chase slowly disappear before she approached him with her insight. She told him she knew he would be happier without his phone, more present, and live again inside his brain and heart instead of in the cyber world. And she said she wouldn't take his phone away. As it turned out, Chase understood what had happened to him. He'd read that kids are increasingly stressed and depressed because of social media. He knew that he and his friends weren't talking to each other the way they used to talk. And he had read that Ed Sheeran had given up his phone. The British musician said he wants to create instead of looking at what others create, wants to see the world through his own eyes instead of through a screen. Chase said he knew he'd be happier without a phone. And of his own accord, he quit social media and now uses his phone only for texting. And the old Chase reappeared. In Grateful Simplicity, subtitled The Philosophy and Politics of the Alternative American Dream, philosopher, political activist, and former staff member of the House Budget Committee, Jerome Siegel, writes, "The time we give to things reflects our values. When everything is rushed, then everything has been devalued. To live gracefully is to live within the flowing rhythms at a human pace. There's time to pay respect to the value of what you do, to the worth of those you care for. The blessing is in giving ourselves time to focus, take a deep dive, connect the dots, be undistracted, find the next best thing to do. Savor. Haraka, haraka, hayana baraka. Hurry, hurry, has no blessing." You've probably heard this story. Friday, January 12, 2007, morning rush hour, Washington, D.C., violin case in hand, a youngish white man in jeans, a long-sleeved t-shirt, and a Washington Nationals baseball cap emerged from the metro at the L'Enfant Plaza station and stood against a wall beside a trash can. He took out the violin, positioned the open case at his feet, threw in a few dollars and pocket change as seed money, and began to play. In the next 43 minutes, as he performed 6 classical pieces, nearly 1,100 people passed by. In fact, this performance was arranged by the Washington Post and filmed on a hidden camera. The violinist was then 39-year-old Joshua Bell, an internationally acclaimed virtuoso. Interview magazine once said, "His playing does nothing less than tell human beings why we bother to live." He was playing a violin handcrafted in 1713 by Antonio Stradivari. The instrument's worth is estimated in excess of $3.5 million. And 3 days before, Joshua Bell had filled the house at Boston Symphony Hall, where even the pretty good seats were going for $100. Remember, this was 2007. But on that Friday in January, Joshua Bell was just another street musician. He began with Chaconne from Johann Sebastian Bach's Partita No. 2 in D minor, a gorgeous and spectacularly difficult piece. 3 minutes and 63 people had already passed before anyone even seemed to notice. A middle-aged man altered his gait just enough to turn his head toward Joshua Bell and then keep on walking. At 3.5 minutes, the first donation was dropped into the violin case, $1. The woman scooted off. And finally, at 6 minutes, someone actually stood against the wall to listen. All told, in nearly 3/4 of an hour, a total of 7 people stopped for more than 1 minute. 27 people gave a total of $32 and change, including pennies, to a man whose talents command $1,000 a minute. That leaves 1,070 who didn't even register that standing there, violin in hand, was Joshua Bell. Later he said, "It was a strange feeling that people were actually ignoring me." And he laughed at himself. There were those very few people who didn't ignore him. John David Mortensen, a Department of Energy project manager, spent 3 full minutes listening to Joshua Bell right up until he had to leave or be late for work. For the first time in his life, he gave money to a street musician. He knows nothing about classical music, but later he said, "Whatever it was, it made me feel at peace." As he listened, 94 more people passed by. The next person who didn't ignore Joshua Bell was a 3-year-old named Evie Parker. On the photo, you see an adorable boy in a parka holding his mother's hand. Despite being propelled toward the door, he keeps twisting around to look at Joshua Bell. As they exit, his mother has positioned herself between her son and Joshua Bell. Evie can still be seen craning his neck to look and listen. While there was no ethnic pattern to distinguish the people who paused to listen to Joshua Bell, the behavior of one demographic remained absolutely consistent. Every time a child walked past, they tried to stop and listen. And every time a harried adult scooted them away. Poet Billy Collins once said that all babies are born with a knowledge of poetry because the lub-dub of the mother's heart is in iambic meter. And then he added, life slowly chokes the poetry out of us. The poetry, the music, the beauty, the savoring. Exactly one person in those nearly 1,100 recognized Joshua Bell. Stacy Furukawa doesn't know much about classical music, but she had been in the audience 3 weeks earlier when Joshua Bell gave a free concert at the Library of Congress. Arriving at the Metro toward the end of the 43-minute concert, she had no idea what was going on, she said later, but whatever it was, she wasn't about to miss it. Grinning broadly, she positioned herself about 10 feet away, front row, center. It was the most astonishing thing I've ever seen in Washington, she says. Joshua Bell was standing there playing at rush hour, and people were not stopping and not even looking, and some were flipping quarters at him. Quarters! I was thinking, oh my gosh, what kind of city do I live in that this could happen? What kind of world do we live in that this could happen? A world where speed is rewarded, where we rush and cram things together so that maybe we get a little more accomplished in a day. Psychology Today ran an article entitled 6 Mindfulness Exercises That Takes Less Than 1 Minute. It's pathetic that a full minute of mindfulness might just take too long. Haraka, haraka, hayana baraka. Hurry, hurry, has no blessing. Welsh poet W.H. Davis asked, "What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare." The Dutch actually have a word for this, niksen, N-I-K-S-E-N. Niksen is the practice of making the time to do things like gaze out a window. They believe that daydreaming is essential to refuel our depleted energy, essential for productivity. Let's ask ourselves, do we have time for beauty? Has any of you ever visited the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City? It's long been on my list. I'd love to see their beautiful statue of Kuan Yin at rest, the Buddha of compassion and mercy seated in royal ease. But now there's another reason to go. They've created an exhibit with one of French painter Claude Monet's water lily paintings in an environment designed to give you an idea of what it would have been like for Monet as he painted. Over the course of 10 minutes, the lighting in the room changes to reflect the various positions of the sun throughout the day. Even the sound changes from morning songbirds to evening crickets. Can you imagine sitting for 10 minutes to look, to really see water lilies? When we stop rushing and slow down, we can focus and find that everything is more interesting. We have time to remember what's important, to care, to feel grateful. We have time for beauty and time to help. I'll close with this story. Over Labor Day weekend, 6 of us chaperoned a huge group of Concord Academy students to Kimball Farm in western Massachusetts. It's a kind of mini Disneyland. One of the attractions is beach volleyball. It's a huge plot of sand featuring an ongoing game with way too many players on each side. Our kids, big crew of kids, jumped in and were having the time of their life. And suddenly, a man cried out and everything ground to a halt. In the heat of the game, he'd thrown his arm high into the air and felt his wedding ring fly off into the sand. Everyone froze. It would have been easy for our kids to drift away. Bumper boats, mini golf, and a zip line were tantalizingly close. But instead, to a person, they dropped to their knees, and our kids were the first ones on their knees, and began methodically sifting the sand for the lost ring. Friends, classmates who saw them came to help. I will admit to you that it looked as hopeless to me as the search for the proverbial needle in the haystack, but they were undaunted. Suddenly, the only thing that mattered was getting this guy's wedding ring back onto his hand. And sure enough, after 20 minutes of patient searching, one of our boys yelled, "I have it!" And the guy whose ring it was rushed over, almost disbelieving. "You have it? You have it!" And even before the ring returned, the two threw their arms around each other in pure joy. And then there was just a scrum of people hugging and celebrating. The ring had been found. Beloved spiritual companions, Haraka, Haraka, Hayana Baraka. Hurry, hurry has no blessing. Instead, pole, pole, slowly, slowly. Time for beauty, time to help. Let us savor and let us save. Amen.
Thank you to the choir. Thank you, Mark David Buckles. Thank you, Young Woo Cho on piano, for your fantastic music week in and week out. Arlington Street Church is entirely self-sustaining. It's up to us, and our generosity continues to be astounding. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, our building, and our beloved spiritual community. Each Sunday, we share a collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. Today, our gifts will go to International Medical Corps, which has deployed an emergency medical field unit to the mountains of Marrakesh, Morocco, treating survivors of the September 8th earthquake. 2 weeks ago, Reverend Kim's sermon was centered around the Rwandan concept of umugunda, the coming together for the purpose of contributing to the common good. My sense is that the concept of umugunda plays a large part in why many of us are a part of this spiritual community, but I'm also thinking about other reasons. Earlier this month, I traveled to the Detroit area to attend a memorial service for my Aunt Marianne, where grieving goes hand in hand with catching up with aunts and uncles, reminiscing with cousins, and even for someone of my age, meeting new relatives. I've been thinking both that I've been so fortunate to have such strong family connections, and perhaps more so, why do I find myself longing for them? During the last episode of the first season of the television series Mad Men, John Hamm's character, the brilliantly creative but deeply flawed Don Draper, is charged with developing a proposal for what will become known as Kodak's carousel slide projector. We see Don working in his home office late at night, looking at old slides and family photographs. The next day, we see his pitch to Kodak, which is centered around the concept of nostalgia, which we are told comes from a Greek word meaning the pain from an old wound. While showing those slides of his family and loved ones, ultimately, Don speaks of traveling through time as a child would, back to a place where we know we are loved. Perhaps for many of us, Arlington Street Church is a place where we know we are loved. Please take a moment now to join me in giving to our beloved spiritual community and filling our virtual connection plate. You can give online by scanning the QR code in the order of service. Go to ascboston.org, text your gift or Venmo at Arlington Street. You can mail a check to the church or use the envelopes in the pews, which can be handed to Reverend Kim or to any of our ushers after the service. Thank you for your generosity.
Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. lamppost, what you knowin'? I come to watch your flowers growin'. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do-do-do-do, feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. To do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you, all is groovy. Ba-da-da-da. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark David. Thank you, Julie. That was really kind of neat. Before we get on the parish highlights, 2 weeks ago, we offered our Gifts of the Spirit up, and I was heartened to see so many people who wrote humor down as something they can bring. And I just got to find out, where are my people? Who else is out there? I see one. Anyone in the chat? Anyone at home in Zoom land? Let me know. We can catch up after the service. We can talk about, I don't know, inappropriate things for worship coordinators to bring up during services or something. Anyway, as always, there are weekly gatherings in our Zoom room, ASC Zoom room, for loving kindness, meditation, poetry, yoga, and writing. Every Wednesday, Reverends Kim and Beth host a tea party with a conversation prompt. This week's prompt is, let's talk TV. What was your favorite show as a child and over the years? Coming up next week in the Zoom room, Professor Ellen Helms and Reverend Kim lead the Wednesdays, Arlington Street's literary salon. They'll be reading the Beat poet Frank O'Hara over the next couple of months. All are welcome. Back in person, for those of you in the Boston area who love to sing, come join the choir. Mark David holds rehearsals here at the church on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. No experience necessary. Information and Zoom room links are at ascboston.org. To attend any of them, you don't have to be a member. You don't have to turn on your video or talk if you don't want to, and they're all free. All are always welcome. A reminder that next Sunday is our annual Blessing of the Animals service. If you've been thinking you'd like to introduce a friend, furry or feathered friend, Arlington Street Church, this would be a great time to do it. All animals are welcome, particularly cows, sheep, and squirrels. I'm not so sure about the cows. John Anderson Miller, are you here? Cheryl, do you know? Can we handle cows? In the basement, okay. Also next Sunday, if you're here in Boston, meet Gaby and George Whitehouse on the front steps after the service to walk down to the restaurant precinct for brunch. As usual, BYO wallet. Following the service, everyone is welcome to join the virtual coffee hour. If you'd like to participate, please answer yes to the breakout room invitation that will appear on your screen. Reverend Kim and I will be out front. If you're here in person, let's gather on the sidewalk and greet each other after virtual coffee hour. Thanks to all of you who joined in today's service and to those of you who made it, all of those who made it possible. Remember, we're all in this together. I love you all.
Thanks, Patrick. Our final hymn today is Simple Faith by Mustard's Retreat. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. I invite us to rise in body, rise in spirit,
If you don't know this one, the melody repeats over and over. It's the same melody for both the chorus and the verse. Julie's going to play it, a version, a raging fiddle version of it, once through before we sing it. 2, 3, 4, 1. Is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. No room in this heart for fear, no judgment day drawing near. Trust that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race, it's all about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Is an open hand, making an honest stand, rooted here in the land every day. Live in the mystery, seeking the harmony here between you and me every day. You don't need the lights to sing this one, it's good. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Life is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. One more time. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Every day, every day, every day, every day.
Amazing that we have sound but no lights. Electricity is electricity, right? I think it's my mother come to haunt us. Difficult in life, haunting in death. Friends, for our benediction, I'm going to invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square. And those of you in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out. Let's send loving kindness to the people to your left and to your right. Thanks, Mom. Send loving kindness to the person on either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community. and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I'm going to invite you to put your hands over your heart and namaste. I bow to the divine in you. These words are adapted from TV reporter Steve Crump. That which is worthy of doing, do it well. That which is worthy of repeating, speak it with a clear voice. That which is worthy of remembering, hold it in your heart. And that which is worthy of living, go and live it now. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Amen.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.